I love Chun-Li, and if you spent more than 5 seconds on my channel, you'd probably already know that. However, as of the release of Street Fighter 6, over 120 unique characters have been playable throughout the Street Fighter series, and I like a lot of them. So today I'm going to give you my top 10 Street Fighter characters who aren't Chun-Li. I'm starting this list off right, and number 10 is going to be Eagle. A lot of you are probably asking yourself, who the fuck is Eagle? Simply put, Eagle is one of the opponent characters who appeared in the original Street Fighter, so he's actually been here since day one, making him an OG of the highest order. He didn't appear again until the crossover game Capcom vs SNK 2, which I'm honestly basing my ranking on here, which is sort of cheating, but I'll forgive myself as he also appeared on the portable versions of Street Fighter Alpha 3 on both the Game Boy Advance and PlayStation Portable. Eagle is a gentlemanly bouncer from the United Kingdom who specializes in the use of Eskrima sticks, making him one of the few Street Fighters to use weapons. His design is admittedly quite basic, but he's one of the first gentlemanly fighter designs ever. Like his design, his story is quite basic as well, but again we're talking about one of the first fighting game characters ever. In the original Street Fighter, he was simply hired to defeat Sagat in the First World Warrior tournament, while his story in Alpha 3 is completely non-canon. Regardless, I love Eagle. His fighting style is extremely unique when compared to other Street Fighter characters, and when you hit some of his combos, it really makes you feel like you're beating some ass. At number 9 we have the OG Street Fighter himself, Ryu. I mean, how could I not include Ryu? He's the original video game martial artist after all. Admittedly though, I wasn't really a fan of this guy until the Street Fighter 3 series, which is where he got one of the most badass super moves of all time in the Shin Shoryuken. He's more or less been the white meat babyface of the franchise since its inception, and I found myself liking him a lot more after interacting with him in Street Fighter 6's World Tour mode, where we learn he's under the table loaded. Ryu has been stacking paper for decades, and even tells the playable character that he has a freaking black card in his wallet. I also love that Ryu, from a gameplay standpoint, is extremely honest. If you meet up with the Ryu player, you know exactly how they'll fight, but he's extremely effective despite this. You've got to respect that. Number 8 is the original Street Fighter end boss, the Emperor of Muay Thai, Sagat. He's one of the few characters in the series who's had a true face turn, starting out as a brash and ruthless fighter, going as far as killing the minor character Go Hibiki after Go had taken his eye in a fight. After losing to Ryu in the first World Warrior tournament, which he himself was hosting, Sagat teamed up with the main heel faction of the series, Shadaloo, in order to track down Ryu for a rematch. But the two eventually became friendly rivals rather than sworn enemies, with Sagat leaving Shadaloo altogether. He even throws a match against Go's son, Dan Hibiki, in order to give Dan peace over his father's death. Sagat's playstyle admittedly leaves a lot to be desired. He's basically the Shotokan archetype with similar moves and an annoying ability to zone the crap out of his opponents. But he's the original Street Fighter villain, and he has a great character arc. Guile comes in at lucky number 7. Just listen to his theme song. Enough said. At number 6 we have C. Viper. This female James Bond was introduced in Street Fighter 4, and I immediately took a liking to her. Her gameplay style reminds me a lot of how an SNK character would usually play, with her Thunder Knuckle, Burning Kick, and Seismic Hammer moves all being very similar to Fatal Fury and King of Fighters mainstay Terry Bogard. The look is also similar to both Vanessa and King from SNK's fighting games as well. Upon debut, Viper was sort of introduced as a neutral character, first being presented to us as a member of SIN, the successor to Shadaloo from the earlier Street Fighter games, and straight up squashing series mainstay Cammy in the supplemental Street Fighter 4 animated movie The Ties That Bind, but she's later revealed to be working for them undercover for the CIA after a fight with Chun-Li. Viper is also a single mom, which is an interesting twist as we don't see that kind of thing in fighting games often. Unfortunately, outside of Marvel vs. Capcom 3, Viper has not made a playable appearance since 4. She has made cameos in both Street Fighter 5 and 6, so Capcom seems to have plans for her, and it's not at all too late for her to appear as playable in Street Fighter 6. Here's hoping. Starting at the top 5 is Cammy White, another character who has turned face in the Street Fighter mythos. Cammy's chronological first appearance was as a member of the Dolls, and Bison's personal assassination and security force. Later being revealed as a female clone of Bison, Cammy would eventually break free of his mind control and wind up joining the Delta Red unit of British Intelligence's MI6. Kimi's playstyle is hyper-aggressive, especially in Street Fighter 6, where it seems like every Kimi player's main goal is to dump the drive gauge as fast as possible. Her moves and mannerisms have always been cool, but I really love her hyper-aggressiveness on both fronts in Street Fighter 6. Kimi also loves cats, and being a cat person myself, this gives her major points. Plus, she's BFFs with Chun-Li. It's time to drop some beats with Elena at number 4. This Kenyan goddess first appeared in Street Fighter 3 The New Generation, helping to usher in a new wave of Street Fighter characters. Elena's stance and move animations helped Capcom show off just how powerful their new CPS3 arcade board was. She's constantly in motion and her moves link together like an intricate dance. Elena's goal is to basically be friends with everyone as she studies abroad in other countries, befriending many of the other Street Fighter characters including Sakura, Ibuki, Makoto, and even Hugo. What a nice person. On the first step of the podium is Nash. Debuting in the Street Fighter Alpha series of spin-off games, Nash serves in the United States Air Force and is a mentor to Guile. He also works closely with Chun-Li in order to stop Shadow's plans in the Alpha storyline, a thread that would continue with Chun-Li and Guile into other Street Fighter mediums. Nash is killed, before his death was needlessly retconned in Street Fighter V, which fueled Guile's quest for revenge against Bison in the Street Fighter II series, which was a story lifted straight from the 1994 Street Fighter live-action movie. Yeah, check this out. In the movie, Guile was trying to rescue his friend Carlos Charlie Blanca, which seems innocuous enough. I mean, this Blanca storyline was completely made up for the movie. However, when the Alpha series was localized for the United States, Nash's name was changed to Charlie. Why would they do that? Why try to make that connection with the movie? That's so weird. Nash also, unfortunately, appears in the other live-action Street Fighter movie, The Legend of Chun-Li. He isn't named Charlie or Charlie Nash, he's just Nash, like in his original debut. It's like a meme that somehow came full circle. But despite all that, Nash as he appeared in the Alpha series was really cool. His version of the Sonic Boom looks sweet with his single arm animation, and is actually faster than Guile's. His flash kick is cooler too, as he turns away from his opponent and somehow front flips while moving backwards. Just more of that United States Air Force anti-gravity logic, I guess. Also, Nash's theme is an absolute banger, one of the most underrated in the entire series. In the runner-up spot, we have Alex from the Street Fighter 3 series. Alex filled in the wrestler archetype in SF3, and I had to say he's my favorite Street Fighter wrestler ever. To this day, I am bad with wrestling characters in any 2D fighter, but Alex is one of the only ones where I feel like I can actually play him. Where most wrestlers would have 360 motions, Alex has quarter sweeps. Where most wrestlers would have 720 motions, Alex has 360 motions. He and Hugo also have one of the best unique pre-match interactions, with them replicating the stare down between Andre the Giant and famous racist Hulk Hogan in their match at WrestleMania 3. With the release of Third Strike, Alex was lifted to a whole new level thanks to his new voice actor, giving him a fitting gruff and gritty sound to better match his appearance. That wild hair, the headband, and the piece de resistance, those overall straps hanging off the sides. Everyone knows that when the straps are down, you're dealing with a serious badass. Honestly, Alex's story isn't too unique. His mentor, per se, basically goes and fights in the World Warrior tournament, gets his ass beat, and Alex is trying to get revenge for him. That's it. And now at number 1, Dudley from the Street Fighter 3 series. Man, I love this guy. Dudley is to boxers what Alex is to wrestlers, in that he simplified the archetype's playstyle. And also like Alex, a new voice actor in Third Strike really made him shine. Dudley is a British boxer who's trying to get his father's beloved Jaguar sports car back from Gil, the Street Fighter 3 series boss. After successfully doing so in Second Impact, one of Dudley's intro animations is changed in Third Strike to show him driving it, a very nice touch. His boxing style is clean, flashy, and full of finesse. You can tell this guy never puts a glove wrong in a fight. Landing combos with Dudley feels extremely satisfying. His target combos are quite easy to pull off, and mixing in his special and EX moves just feels good. Also, one of his alternate color palettes reminds me of Tiger Woods. That's it for the first episode of RCX here on the channel, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you're feeling frisky, feel free to leave your list in the comment section below. This is Red Comma 13, and I'll see you next time.
The fans really seem to enjoy that. You made it look easy.